Hello, hello. I am Coach Cori Sartori. I empower high-achieving women to shift their mindset to grow in their self-love, confidence, and career. Today, I am talking to you about relationships and how our relationship can be holding us back or lifting us up. And I have been in both of these relationships. I've been in a relationship that held me back. I am currently in a relationship that lifts me up. And guess what? Both of these relationships are with the same person. So a lot of you know that I spend my 20s and early 30s in a toxic codependent relationship. My husband was very active in his alcohol and drug abuse, and we were completely awful together. I was an enabler. I was also drinking basically daily. Neither one of us were taking care of ourselves, our mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual being. And so the relationship that we had back then was really awful. And, I look back at the time and the stress and the overwhelm and just the feeling that was going on inside of me was just not joyful. It was overwhelm. All I can describe it maybe is as heavy. I was sharing with my husband a couple nights ago, we were talking about when we lived in California together, and when we were living in California it was after some really awful things had happened in our relationship, and I ran away to California to escape because I was like, I just can't do this anymore. But he followed me, and the time that we were in California was really difficult, really heavy, really sad. He was sober for a minute and then just went back to drinking, and it just broke our relationship up. And luckily eventually he came back and got sober. But all I can say is, if you're feeling that in your relationship, if you're feeling that overwhelm, if you're feeling that heavy, if you're feeling that sadness, that darkness, right? It's just a feeling that doesn't feel good, then maybe this is for you. And if you are in that place, I'm sending you love, and I hope that you can either make a change in your relationship or hopefully find somebody that will love you and support you and cheer you on. So now we have an incredible relationship. So my husband got sober back in 2012, and I didn't talk to him for many, many years. We decided that we were just not going to have any sort of relationship, which is exactly what we needed because we were so codependent and so toxic together. And so I started my healing journey, and he got sober and did his own thing. And then in 2015, I made the choice to forgive him for everything, and we had a conversation, and never thinking I was going to see him or talk to him again. I left that conversation just feeling really amazing and happy that I was able to let go of that resentment and that negative energy. And then 6 months later, he came back into my life, and I showed him a lot of the self-development and growth that I had already done on myself, and the gratitude and the goal setting and all the amazing things that I still do with clients. I showed him, and that was really a foundation for our relationship. And so, relationships are work, and we still continue to work on our relationship every day. We are committed to working on a relationship, and I think that's why we are so strong together and resilient. We've been through a lot in the last, we got back together in 2016. So in the last 6 years, we've been through a lot. We got married, and I changed jobs, and he's changed jobs, and we had a little boy who's just absolutely incredible, and I had breast cancer last year. We've been through a lot of things, really hard things, but our relationship continues to be strong, and we continue to grow, and we continue to love each other because we've built such a powerful foundation, and we are committed to loving each other and respecting each other and caring for each other. So I want to share with you some signs that you may be in a relationship that is holding you back. So some of the signs, if you are being held back in your relationship, could be that you never get to see your friends and family, which I know I've seen this a lot with women is they'll get in a relationship with somebody, and that person will hold them back from seeing friends or family. I think it's really a control thing. That's been my experience, but it doesn't serve you, and it doesn't bring you joy. So a few other things are your partner doesn't support you in your interests. If they don't support your interests, they don't support your goals. Maybe you generally feel unhappy. I know for me, I did for a long time, and I just thought that's how life was. Maybe you compromise your happiness for your partner, which never feels good. That's not what you should be doing. maybe you're saving for two. I know that this was true for me. I was very good. In my 20s, I bought a condo when I was 24 years old. And it was one of the times where I was not in a relationship with Jake. We were on or off. We were on the outs. And I was always the one that was saving, and I was always the one who was successful in my career. I was always making more money. I was just the breadwinner, the saver, and it bit me in the ass in the end. So if you are saving for two and they're not saving, your partner's not saving, that's a red flag. If your partner is negative or they judge you, or your goals or your dreams, that's a red flag. If they're not faithful, I know that this was something that, Jake and I went through when we were in our 20s, and that broke me, absolutely broke me. Maybe your goals don't match, or maybe they're taking, and you're just giving. And so those are some signs that you might be in a relationship that is holding you back. And if you are, know that just means that there's an opportunity for growth. So some signs that your relationship is lifting you up might be that you have mutual respect for each other. I think this one is super valuable. Jake and I respect each other. The way that we speak to each other is also respectful. Like, we don't say unkind words to each other. And I think the reason that we do that is also because we know that once you say something, you can't take that back. And once it's said, that person's going to remember it. And so we respect each other enough that when we are angry, that we don't speak unkindly to each other, because we know that it's something we won't be able to take back. If you are being lifted up in your relationship, you believe in each other. You have hard conversations, which have to be had sometimes. You talk about your goals, you talk about your aspirations, you talk about your dreams. You guys are both headed in the same direction. You trust each other, which is so important. I know that Jake and I have had a rocky past, but we 100% trust each other. And I think that my intuition is very good, that if something's off, I know it, and we have a conversation about it. But at the end of the day, like, we trust each other. I don't have to have those conversations, because we are open and honest daily. Then you communicate daily. If you're in a relationship that lifts you up, you communicate. Communication is key to every relationship in your life, your personal relationships, your working relationships, and everything else. And you accept and don't judge each other if you are in a relationship that lifts you up. And I know that Jake and I accept each other for who we are, and we love each other, and we are constantly cheering each other on. So those are some ways that you can know if your relationship is lifting you up. So in this live, I just wanted to share with you what that might look like if you are in a relationship holding you back, and what a positive, happy relationship looks like as well. And know that if you are struggling in your relationship, there's a couple things that you can do to shift them or change them. But please remember that you can never change anybody else but yourself. I think that this is something, as I've been in Al-Anon or, codependency groups or things like that, is there's a lot of blame and there's a lot of victimness in it. And at the end of the day, you have a choice. You have a choice to stay. You have a choice to leave. It's a choice. And there might be a lot of fear and a lot of other things that go along with it. But you are the person that creates your life by the choices you make. And so I'm going to offer you a couple things today to just help you maybe start having a better relationship. And remember, you can't change the other person. All you can do is work on yourself. And so I know for me, the reason that Jake and I have a powerful relationship is because we both sucked. Like, we sucked back in our 20s and early 30s, but we have both done so much work over the last decade to work on ourselves, to become better people. So I will tell you, people can change. People can change. I'm proof that people can change. My husband is proof that people can change, but nobody will ever change for you. And I think for me, when I was in my relationship with Jake and it was toxic and codependent, I kept thinking, like, oh my gosh, if I love him enough, he'll change. If I do this, he'll change. Like, nobody will ever change for you. People only change when they're ready. And, for Jake, he had to hit rock bottom. And it was rock bottom in California for him. Like, if he did not get help, he would have died. And it's scary to say, but that was the 100% truth. And so I'm so grateful that he chose to come back here and get sober. So there are some things you can do if you are in a relationship that maybe isn't lifting you up. That first thing I want to share with you is set boundaries. You must set boundaries within your relationship. And those boundaries can be anything. They can be in the way that you guys communicate, the way that somebody talks to you. They can be setting boundaries for you to have your own personal time. They can be in setting boundaries for time together. There's so many different boundaries, but you have to set boundaries in your relationships. And when I work with clients, I don't just tell them to do this within their romantic relationships, but I've had clients where I've had to tell them, you need to set these boundaries with your mom. You need to set these boundaries with your sister, your kids, or whatever. Boundaries are important. And I think if you've ever been in a relationship or know somebody that is very active in addiction, you need to set boundaries within that relationship, because I know for me, I was such an enabler. Like, I kept allowing things to happen because I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know I was an enabler. I didn't know I was codependent. And there was a lot of lies and BS that happened in that relationship. And so I would set boundaries, and then I would not stick to them. So that's what I want to share with you is, if you're going to set boundaries in your relationships, they need to be a non-negotiable, and you need to stick with them. Because I would set boundaries and then I would be like, well, it's okay. And it's not okay. And so take out a pen and paper and start writing out the boundaries that you need to set in your relationship if you are in a relationship that is not lifting you up. So that's the first thing I want to share with you. So the second thing is, start worrying about yourself and putting yourself first. That is one thing that I know that I did in my past relationship with Jake, is I wasn't putting myself first. I wasn't making myself a priority. I just thought, if I love him enough, if I do this for him or this for him or this for him, I can help him and he'll change and he'll be better and we'll have this beautiful relationship. And I know that Jake wanted to change for me, and I know that he wanted to be a better person so we could stay together. And I know this because we talked about it actually maybe yesterday or the day before, where he said to me, he's like, I wanted to be with you and I wanted to change and I wanted to be a better person, but I just was so stuck in my abuse of alcohol. I just couldn't do it. His addiction had taken over. And so I want to tell you, make yourself a priority, put yourself first, do things for you, because you are the most important person in your life. And if you don't put yourself first, nobody else will. So the last thing that I want to share with you is, spend time with those that love and support you. And I know when I was in my relationship and it was really gross, is I didn't spend a lot of time with people that were lifting me up. Really, I pulled away from my family. My family would say, oh, we're having an activity, whether it's, Sunday dinner or it's a birthday party. And I would always have an excuse not to go. Or even if I went, I acted like a total jerk and was just like a snot, like I wasn't present. I pulled away from my family, and I probably pulled away because I didn't want them to know how effed up my relationship was, because it was bad. And I'm sure my family sensed it at some point, right? They could tell the energy, they probably knew things were off, but I pulled away and I held back from people that loved me and supported me and cheered me on. And I just surrounded myself with other toxic, gross people, because I think that's the place I was in. I was like, maybe that was a safe place for me. Maybe I thought, oh, well, my life's not as bad as yours. I don't know what I was thinking back then, but the people that truly loved me, like my family and I had some really good friends, I just pulled away from them. And that doesn't serve you. That doesn't help you. And so I challenge you, if you are in a relationship that is not pushing you forward and lifting you up, it's holding you back, then you need to really start spending more time with those people that love you and care about you and see you for who you are and love you for exactly that. And they're not trying to make you be any different. So I just wanted to share with you a couple of ideas of how to start making changes for yourself and within your relationship, so you can start lifting yourself up or lifting your relationship up. If you need more support, if you are in a relationship that is not serving you, is not bringing you joy, then please let me help you. I've worked with a lot of people, a lot of women in this last year that have come to me with relationship issues. Maybe they're in a marriage with a narcissist or a relationship with a narcissist, or they have codependency tendencies or constantly been in codependent relationships. And in the last probably 7 or 8 months, I worked with quite a few women where I supported them on healing themselves and growing themselves, because that's really what it is about. I think for me is I'm able to set these boundaries and love myself and have a beautiful life because I choose to work on myself every day. And when I work with these women on healing, right, it's not just working on the relationship. That's not really where we put any energy. We put a little bit, but not too much, because the focus is on them. They need to be working on themselves. They need to be doing for them so they can live a happier, healthier life. So I have one spot left for June. I would love to support you in transforming your life. I would love to support you in growing your self-love, confidence, and career. I would love to help you have happy, healthier relationships. I would love to help you let go of limiting beliefs and anything else that you need to start living your best life. Send me a DM right now with the word program to find out more info on how my coaching can help you and transform your life and help you live a life that you love. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being you. I look forward to connecting soon.